welcome to Do the Right Thing, your weekly writing prompt podcast. I'm Alexandra.
And I'm Jarvis.
Jarvis and I were aspiring writers with one simple and very common problem. We never actually took the time to sit down and write.
Exactly. So to solve this issue, we're issuing a challenge. Each week, we sit down and write a complete short story using 3 or 4 randomly generated words.
Then we come on the podcast, we read a story, we talk about what we learned in reading it, and then we talk about the rest of the story sent in by you wonderful listeners.
Exactamundo. We're simply here to help you do the right thing.
Right thing. A Doof Media production. Yeah, I'm super nasal. The allergies are fucking killing me. I'm barely surviving.
Yeah.
You have a final due tonight and one tomorrow as well?
I have a final due at midnight within 10 hours, and I have one due tomorrow by midnight.
I'm very proud of you, Jarvis. You're nearly through.
Almost.
Yeah. Right after this, I'm going to be recording the view from halfway down. So very busy day that we've got over here. But yeah, it's been a good time. I've been active as well. We talked a lot before this.
Yeah, and I've been having a great time. So
yeah, what have you been up to?
Honestly, besides schoolwork, I've just been doing as much rest and vibing as possible. I've been getting back into writing since I haven't really been able to take the time to write anything that wasn't for like projects or tests and stuff. And I'm like 75% of the way done with Elden Ring, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, I was about to ask if you'd beaten it yet.
No, because I honestly just haven't been able to dedicate enough time. But my mage build is top tier. Top tier.
You and your fucking mage builds. I never understand how you can possibly enjoy that game that way.
Because it always feels like the game isn't supposed to be played that way.
Yeah, and then you do it anyway.
And then I do it anyway. And then like
you need to be a wizard.
Yeah, well, see, but the crazy thing is I am a mage build, but I mostly do like melee attacks. That
seems completely like the opposite of effective, but
well,
sure.
See, because the game has this thing to where you can just add a magic affinity to any weapon.
Okay.
And it gives it magic damage plus a point scaling, and I have 60 in intelligence. So no matter what weapon I like decide to do that with, it'll do really solid damage because I've spent hours getting my fucking level
this is too nerdy for me. I need to move on, Jarvis.
Yes, it is quite. Sorry,
yeah.
I love stats, but to talk about stats,
turn the gain down just very slightly. It's been usually good, but then sometimes you get excited and then it's just maxing out.
Sorry for my excitement.
It's okay. Yeah, you got to rein it in, buddy.
But yeah, I do love stats. And speaking about stats, on this week of Do the Right Thing, we got some fantastic stories, a plethora of stories even.
Yeah, I'm excited to talk about them. Actually, I kind of want to read 2 stories. Do you mind if I just jump into the first one right now?
Yeah, sure. The first story is by
Wildbow. I want to read the story by Wildbow. Sent in a wonderful story. Our theme is brevity, and I think he wrote a piece that really captured it. So, what were the words for this week? Just before I get into it,
the words for this week were favor, be, remind, and dribble.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So let me just read this wonderful story by Wildbow, our resident professional author. What kind of masterpiece he's given it, because I've enjoyed every one of his stories that he sent in. So, and I think this might be one of his best ones yet. So this one goes, this is an untitled story by Wildbow. "Oh, Beatrice said, as she walked through the hive carrying honey. Would you do me a favor and remind me?" She bumped into another bee, dribbling honey onto the floor. Fuck.
Amazing. Beautiful.
Yeah. So,
stupendous.
Thank you for this masterpiece, Jarvis.
Who?
Yeah, shut up. Whatever. Thank you for this masterpiece, Wildbow. I got really excited when I saw a notification that Wildbow had sent in a story, and I wasn't disappointed at all. So,
yeah, I mean, granted, it is brief.
It is brief. Yeah, I think Wildbow was just kind of exercising, that ability to be super brief. And Wildbow kind of has a thing with just like sprawling stories that kind of definitely take their breathing space. So,
Mm-hmm.
maybe this is just Wildbow showing that he can do both.
Yeah.
He can have these sprawling stories and he can tell an excellent story within just a few sentences. So,
Mm-hmm. An extra
thanks
story
again.
with great applications.
Great applications. The themes in here,
Mm-hmm.
they're just a little bit too deep for me to truly decipher at the moment. But I think if I sleep on it, I think I'll be able to start getting some insights on it. So
Mm-hmm. Oh, definitely, definitely.
maybe
Yeah.
maybe next week we'll kind of have like an episode just kind of dedicated to pulling out some of those themes. Um,
Mm,
so
yeah. So of
um,
course, thank you to Wildbow for, I
yeah,
mean,
thank you.
basically giving us something on par with the Bible right now.
Yeah, with the Bible. Yeah, it's that good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, okay. Anyway, all right. So let's do the actual story. Which one are we talking about this week?
We will be talking about Walker by Faith story, which is titled "Coming Up Short."
You're right. Okay, yeah. The theme of this month is brevity, and so I was definitely looking out for a story that would capture sort of one of the ways that you can use brevity, and I think the story definitely hits that. So, yeah, I'll just get into it. So the story is called "Coming Up Short" by Walker by Faith. Today, he scanned my items unenthusiastically, finally saying, "That's $22.13." I looked down, checked again, my face reddening. Impatient sighs sounded behind me. "I only have 22." Blank stare from the cashier. "Can you do me a favor on the 13?" "I can take something off." "Never mind," I interrupted. I left, ashamed. The past. After 45 minutes, I made it to the front of the line. The Crazy Bee was the park's newest thrill ride. Everyone wanted to try it. "Hold up," the freckled attendant said. "Step this way." I walked over to her, my head easily passing under the cartoon bee's outstretched hand. "You have to be taller." "I know," I interrupted. I left, ashamed. Today. "Where's my Snickers?" She was pouting, looking at my empty hands. "They're out," I lied. "You promised." "I'm sorry." My face got redder as I tried not to cry in front of her. "You suck, Dad." "I know," I said, turning the tears away. I drove, ashamed. The past. "This can't keep happening," my manager said, looking down at my cash drawer. "Need I remind you, this till is your responsibility?" "I don't know." "Let me stop you right there, Haas. A little dribble of 10 cents, a dollar, here and there is one thing. You are $58 short of today." "What? How?" I was shocked. In my pocket. It was in my pocket. But to him, I was shocked. "Forget it. You're fired." "I know," I said. I walked out, ashamed. Now. "How did it happen? What do you think?" The officer stands in the strobing blue glow of squad car lights. "Looks like if he'd pulled up a little bit more past the intersection, he'd never have been hit. Don't know why he stopped short," another officer replies. "How many?" "Two. Man, mid-30s, and his daughter. Maybe 10? Maybe 10. The two are silent for long moments. "Such a shame. Both of them. Lives cut way too short." "I know," I think, hovering above them. I drift off, ashamed.
Well, all right, all right. I really do like this story. How it's able to cover so much time of this one man and all of the moments that not only make him ashamed, but excuse me, also spell out his own shortcomings. Um, Sort of expressing this persona's feelings on these events that he is at fault for, um, in a very concise way that tells you a lot more than like three paragraphs filled with his thoughts could really do.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think that this definitely does sort of hit the nail on the head when it comes to brevity. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's cool because it's just like it's focused on this one theme of like stopping short and sort of not like giving that much effort, basically, or just I really like some of the comments that we had here. Just Stan said, interesting how his life echoes this theme. He never breaks free in his inner self as well as his actions. Sad, but very engaging. I think we all know someone who has this trail of failure in their lives. What would it take to change that pattern? Inner change first and then outer change follows, or vice versa? And then Walker by Face sort of elaborated on their own intentions. I dropped hints that in many situations it was his own actions that led to his shortcomings. He stole his money from work. His pride didn't allow him to put something back to get his daughter the Snickers. He intentionally maybe stopped short to end it all. And then the final shame. So a lot of times we blame life when it's really our own actions that lead to pain.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think that's a really interesting way to put that. And I definitely think this is an interesting story to outline that theme. Um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I do very much like the minimalist sort of way that this is told. It's a lot of focus just on the dialogue, right? There's not really any scene setting other than just like what's immediately relevant. But that never is an issue, right? It's not like we need to see the little girl to know, that she's upset, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
like it was only on the second read that I realized that scene was happening like in the car because they're driving when she's like looking at her empty hands or his empty hands. But like that doesn't matter, and like the information's there if I needed it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's a real accomplishment being able to portray that information in such a concise way. Like basically what you said, how we could tell so much about the daughter's disposition based off of what she says about this main character, and how this story is so little, or I guess is so scarce when it comes to dialogue, but we can already mentally picture what could be said within these moments because of the word choice in the brevity of this story.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I
Yeah.
think that there's just some really nice expert craft going on throughout
Mm-hmm.
this.
Yeah. I will say so. I think the one section that I'm not entirely sure how well it's connecting is the part where it's about the theme park ride.
Mm-hmm.
It could be that that's just like how Walker by Faith was putting in the word "be," but also it's like most of the rest of them, right? As we talked about, is like his pride prevented him from just putting something back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, or and he did steal from work, right? But going to the theme park ride, I mean, the main bad thing he did there was just like he knew that he wasn't going to be able to go on the ride, and he tried to go anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe it's just like the inability to recognize his own like
Shortcoming.
yeah, and to like accept it and just like
Yeah,
live with it.
yeah, I could see that. I mean, it does stand out as the only moment where his own actions does not dictate what consequence he is being
Mm-hmm.
dealt.
Right.
But I think you might have been on the right track when you're saying how the inability of recognizing one's own shortcomings and one's own like faults could in fact lead into everything else that happened within this story. He stole money because he thought he would get away with it. He probably drove not in the right mind, thinking that he would be fine. So I feel that that's the only way that this section really does loop in. But that is, of course, pulling at strands, especially in a story where everything else is so closely tied to the main theme. That scene, too, for me, also just stands out as a outlier. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, not that bad of it. Just like it's a little bit different from the rest, I think. And I wonder how much of that is an intentional, like, different point that we're supposed to be connecting to realize some other things, and how much of that is just, yeah, it didn't fit as well.
Yeah, because I
Um,
know that scene made me feel I guess, sorry for the
Yeah.
main character
Yeah.
versus every other scene where I still feel sorry for him because this whole story is just a list of all of the bad things
Mm-hmm.
that have happened within his life. So I still do feel sorry for him,
Mm-hmm.
but at least in those other sections there is a element of, oh, he did this to himself. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe that's why it is present, to sort of get us on this character side, so
Mm-hmm.
that
Could be.
we give him the benefit of the doubt throughout the rest of these events.
Yeah, it could be. Yeah, it's interesting too that two of the stories, the first one and the second to last one, both have to do with just a grocery store, cashiers. It's interesting, I guess. I
Very,
don't know.
yeah.
It's just because it's kind of like pathetic in both.
Mm-hmm.
Just like being a teen and not being able to keep your job because you're stealing money. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, and then the other one of just like, damn, this guy's not even getting a 13-cent break. That sucks.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, so that's very interesting. I don't know if it could be the words or the topic itself that has brought forth just two grocery store stories. Granted,
mhm.
a lot of us have all worked in some sort of grocery store in
That
some
is
way, shape,
true.
form, or fashion. I
Yeah,
think.
I worked at a bookstore and had the same sort of experience. We sold Snickers, so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Cool. Well, all right. I think it's high time to move on into our listener submitted stories section. But thank you so
Hmm.
much to Walker by Faith, of course, for allowing us to read
Yeah,
your
yeah, and
story.
and Walker by Faith is really great about submitting stuff every week. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I was looking forward to talking about another one of his stories.
Yeah, exactly. But the first story we will be talking about this week is by Ace of Sword with Let's Kill Tonight.
Yeah, I like that. I also like, I don't know, the play on it. It's just like, let's kill tonight. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like to kill tonight. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Let's
Anyway,
kill tonight. Let's kill tonight. Yes, yes.
so this is part of a series where our main viewpoint character is this woman with the power of, like, whenever she's holding a bladed weapon, it becomes her dance partner, and she just kills everyone in the room. It's been
Mm-hmm.
very enjoyable reading these stories. The last one, she got confronted by this like master hypnotist, basically, um, that just like had the power to like mind control people, and she was about to get mind controlled, and it starts that way, and it really seems like she's about to totally lose, as she's like, yeah, totally falling under the spell, when I think basically her dance partner, her blade, kind of acts
Mm-hmm.
on its own, and makes her cut him and break his weapon, and then she just, yeah, stabs him right through the chest. He's just super dead. um and we finish with she's about to fight someone else before this gunman shows up and shoots this other woman, and challenges her, and she ends with where do all these rude people keep coming from, the ones who keep keeping her from her dances.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, I think that this is a nice continuation of the story. Of course, it is always great to see when a writer takes their time away from a piece so that they can come back and really give us something special. Which I think that this like entry is. Of course, the action is still really really good. I love a lot of the way that this dance is being described. It still sort of holds that same mystical magic that it did in the first entry.
mhm.
And yeah, I do really find it interesting on where this story is really going. How we are meeting a lot more characters, and they're just cutting their way through countless mobs. But I am interested to see if this blade dance will hold up against a gun.
Yeah, yeah. What I find really good about the story, Ace of Sword was trying to use brevity in the style, and I think that definitely comes across. I don't know how much of that was in the sections before, but just like to read a couple sections. I like this little paragraph. Something was stuck on her blade. She grabbed it with two fingers, dragging it past the point before looking at it. A tarot card. The devil. Odd. So it's just a really great sentence variety here, with a sentence, something was stuck on her blade, easy little short sentence, and the next one's a little bit more complex, dragging
Mm-hmm.
it past the point before looking at it. and then ending there with these little tiny bites: a tarot card, the devil, odd. And that's, yeah, it's a wonderful little sentence variety that definitely makes it feel nice and various.
Yeah,
And there's a lot of
without
that in
messing with
here.
the flow. Yeah.
Yeah, where there's like, maybe a longer sentence describing things, and then like a just little tiny short reaction from our viewpoint character. Like here at the beginning, as they decided if they should step forward or just wait for him to do so, he pressed a button at the side of the cane, and several colored lights turned on along the length, bright enough to leave streaks in her vision, but she did not lose sight of the weapon. It's a nice long sentence, and then a cheap trick. So it's just nice. It just, you have this whole thing, and you're characterizing the viewpoint character a bit too, just through how you're describing things.
Yeah, it's kind of like a stinger in a lot of ways, which I do like. I really do like the time taken on the syntactical level within this story.
Yeah, I quite liked it. Yes.
Yeah, definitely. But all right, thank you very much, Ace of Sword, for submitting your story. And up next is by Nick Yu with Coworker's Dilemma.
So here is a almost entirely dialogue story, just about these two workers looking into a manhole cover and deciding who is going to go in first. One is pressuring the other one, and you get sort of just some insight onto their dynamic, and just a little bit of what their work must be. They have office parties, and so they have that normal aspect, but they also have stuff with talking bees that they have to fight or something.
Yeah.
So yeah, and so finally, one of the characters convinces Ken to go down there first, and immediately starts running out as he's chased out by buzzing and the words "Canards, vous pensiez pouvoir nous échapper?" Because it's the fucking talking bees again, which is it's really funny. It's good.
Yeah, I mean this whole story was really, really funny. I love the back and forth dialogue that is telling you not so much about their dynamic. We can tell who is the straight man, who is the jokester, and I just really love how they're both just trying to convince the other so much that they owe the other person, so they should go down the hole. I don't know. It was really cute, and it was really well crafted throughout. And I think that the ending is hilarious, and it ends in a nice place where the joke isn't overstated, and the punchline maintains its punchiness. So yeah.
Yeah, it's great. And the little line in French, I just had to Google it just to make sure. It translates to "Motherfuckers, you thought you could escape us? You thought you could get away from us?" It's great. It's really cute.
Bees with a vendetta.
yeah. I love how they're speaking French too. It's a wonderful little touch.
Yeah. Nice. But all right, up next is by Just Stand 8460 with Crash Course.
1 second. Yeah, this is also another cool story. Mostly just dialogue. The entire first section is just dialogue, just instructions, clearly from someone sort of tense and unable to interact in the scene and telling someone else what they need to do in order to do something, to operate something. And then we get a little cut and see the aftermath, which is a newscast saying that during a flying lesson, the instructor became paralyzed and had to coach the student in how to land a plane. And it's a really cool little exercise in that.
Yeah. So yeah, this was a really interesting story. I do like how it didn't start off with too many stakes, but like over the course of this instructor teaching the other person, I start to really care for them and see the stakes because they are in the air. And yeah, I just really did enjoy the story. It is brief, but it's directly to the point. There is like no real fluff within this, which I really do like, especially how most of the story is in dialogue. So it really is excuse me, it really is acting to push this story forward as much as possible, which is really great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think it's a great exercise in brevity for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, all right. Our final story for this week is by Apathetic Activist with A Taste of Old Times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this is a nice little short sort of reminiscence with our main character sort of looking at honey in a wild hive and reminiscing on their relationship with their grandmother who would keep bees and just generally just sort of reminiscing and having that sort of moment um, to just remember their grandmother and her relationship to beekeeping, basically.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah. So this is a really nice, sentimental story that almost feels like timeless. Um, I love a lot of the what's it called? How the description of the action really does focus on these really small moments. And the focusing on those small moments sort of makes this story what it is. I can see the slight little finger dipping into the honey as this main character thinks of their like grandma, and I just think it's like really really sweet overall. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, really really great job.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's just a nice little beautiful sort of poetic um yeah, thinking about your grandparents and sort of mourning someone in your own specific way.
Yeah, definitely. Well, all right. Thank you so much to everyone who submitted your story. It is great to wake up on a morning and see that there's so many stories for us to read,
And a lot of comments and too a lot
and
of
a lot of
discussion back and
comments.
forth. Yeah, actually,
Yeah.
just Stan had a little thing, questions for the group, sort of getting people to talk about writing and asking what was your reason you decided to start writing, what is your journey so far in becoming a writer. And it was just some nice little discussion as people sort of thought on those things and um, yeah, and just what it is that's been motivating them to write and stuff.
Yeah, which is great. It's great to always be reminded
Mm-hmm.
of that reason. It gives us our power back when it comes to our creative spirit. Um, but all right, I would love to say thank you to everyone who did submit a story. So thank you very much to Ace of Sword.
Thank you, Nick, to you.
Thank you to JustStan8460.
And thank you, Apathetic Activist.
Exactly. And I will also
And
like to say thank you to everyone who left comments. Leaving comments not only under your own story, but under someone else's can condense your ideas on your story for others to see, but you're also providing someone else with crucial feedback that can only improve them and you as writers. So thank you very much to Nick, to you, Walker by Faith, Just Stand 8460, and Apathetic Activist. Thank you so much for leaving comments.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah, if you want to be like all these wonderful writers and submit your story to Do the Right Thing, all you have to do is go to / Do the Right Thing on Reddit and take a 30-minute timer and use 3 of the 4 randomly generated words announced at the end of the podcast. Jarvis, where should people go if they want to see words as soon as they come out?
If you want to see words as soon as they come out, you should go to our Twitter, which is at Right Thing Cast. We will post whatever the words are and when it will be released on there every week. And also, you should watch that closely in case anything when it comes to the release schedule of this podcast or anything else comes out, we will definitely post it there.
Yeah. Yeah. This is coming out on a Wednesday, as we might be switching to a Wednesday release schedule. We might actually have to switch that because I forgot that View from Halfway Down also comes out on Wednesdays, so it might be kind of a lot for me to have the same deadline for 2 podcasts. But we'll see. We'll see. We'll figure something out.
Yeah.
And when we do, it'll be announced on Twitter. So yeah, just follow us at Right Thing Cast and hit that bell.
Hit the bell. All right, nice. So, why don't you tell me what's happening in Doof right now?
There's plenty of things going on in Doof Media. I want to say again that we're doing a BoJack Horseman fan art contest. So if you are someone that does art or know someone that does art, we have cash prizes, and I think it'd be really cool if y'all participated and stuff. I'm really excited to see the first works that come in whenever they do. And of course, there's so much else going on. They just covered Doctor Strangelove at the Doofcast. I'm really enjoying Pale Reflections, although I'm like way behind. on listening to that podcast, but I'm catching up on finishing Pale again. So yeah, all excited about all those things.
All right, nice. Cool. And now I guess it's high time to roll into next week's words. Which, of course, the theme for next week is still brevity for the month of May. So please submit your story to us, but focus on brevity and conciseness of your prose. And the words you will be using to create these fantastic stories are picture, woman, grimace, and trade.
Interesting. So a picture is a representation of the world taken by a camera, just sort of taking in the lights and recreating it. It's sort of taken as a more realistic snapshot of reality than like a painting would be, even though it totally is arbitrary and also false. It's only that one angle, so it's really interesting. Pictures.
Yes.
Something could be picturesque, which is just that it's very pretty and seems like it's intentionally taken. Yeah. Just generally, it's like taking a single moment and capturing it visually. Woman is typically the other gender binary, other from man, and sort of philosophically is defined by its relationship with man. So that's kind of interesting, I think. Women are typically associated with femininity and with motherhood and certain aspects of sexuality and beauty and a lot of things. I think it's really interesting. It's always interesting to explore gender and stuff. So, and the next one is grimace, which is sort of an expression that you make when you are sort of feeling pain, more of a it can be any kind of pain, but I think I associate it more with like mental pain, like seeing someone else be in pain and you sort of grimace in association. And the last one, which is trade, which is to exchange one thing for another, usually between two parties.
Yeah. Cool. So the fantastical brief story I'm going to be writing next week takes place at McDonald's. I was waiting in line behind a woman who was really trying to trade her car keys for a Big Mac. She was really hungry, but she didn't have any money or any photo ID, but she did bring a really big picture of her family. So it's like, hey, this is me. I can buy this. But all of a sudden, from the back part of McDonald's, this giant purple creature walks out.
Oh my god!
Grabs the like woman and swallows her whole, giving a big smile to everyone in the McDonald's. His name was Grimace.
Thank you for that. I forget that they have one of their fucking characters named Grimace. Why did they name a character
Grimace
for a mascot of a little fast food place Grimace?
Yeah.
It's
especially
so weird.
Since it's like a giant fat purple thing.
Weird. So I'm writing about so they're at the school, they had yearbook photos, they took pictures of everyone, and then they printed them out on little cards for some reason, and then all the students started using them as a trading card game, right? And they had different values. The ones of the teachers who were like women, they those were more valuable. You could get high scores, and the ones where they were not good pictures because of how rare they are, where someone had like a grimace, right? Those are worth extra points. There's only a couple of those, and so they kind of made like a whole economy based off of these trading cards, and then they all got expelled because that's fucking weird.
What? Ugh. I mean, yes, it's a bit weird. But
it's do the right thing, baby.
Oof. Sure, it's the right thing to do. Yeah.
Do the right thing. That's the name of this podcast. We do it.
We did it.
Okay, bye. I love you.